Hello, Adder, and welcome to your deck review. For those of you joining us for the first time on YouTube, it is I, Jonathan Maldhound, a guy who normally yells and shouts and talks about kissing, but today I'm doing something normal. We are reviewing this deck's PP. That's their premise and their practicum. Their premise is the idea behind the deck. The practicum is the cards they actually put in it and if they help the idea. This is just a thing that I sell as a Ko-Fi commission. You can find it in the description. But let's get into Adder's deck. So the primer is a Kykaring deck. We like the gameplay paradigm of being a persnickety bitch who can interrupt people with spirits. I enjoy that. The stuff we like in specific, we like playing copy spells. We like being able to have our interaction be these red copy spells so we can politic around, oh, you're going to remove Kaikar? Well, if you do that, I will sacrifice 3 spirits and I will kill your commander. So maybe reconsider that. All right, Mark? Okay. I think that's very cool. I think that's pretty fun. And we have said our win conditions are these. In our primer, we want to build up an army of spirit tokens, convert them into a win. Da 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 da. Is this strong enough for bracket 3? No. No, not in my opinion, not without significant changes either to the play dynamic of using copy spells or how you currently want to win. So let's dig into that part of the issue with the idea first. So if we look at our win conditions right now, we have, I like Tears of Rage, actually. This is the only one I like. We have 3 spells where each spirit effectively represents 1 damage to each player. So generously, we can say each spirit represents 3 damage. That's not bad. That's not nothing. That is only about as good as Impact Tremors, right? Like your current win cons, they're obviously much more out of nowhere than if you did this, but it is half as much damage as our spirits would be representing if we just did a Purphoros ping strategy. It is a mere fraction of how much, because these guys fly? Yeah, these guys fly. These guys are evasive. So you're probably going to get most of them through on most people. Versus if you have 10, and you swing 10 and you cast this, and they're all 11 ones, we're doing triple the effectiveness of this, almost quadruple if we could get to 12. And I think Boros tends to have a lot of answers for to do things like that, a lot of ways to do things like Tears of Rage. So I think the number one thing that's missing to me is Kaikar decks usually don't want to win through big mana. Kaikar decks normally want to win through Storm, which is going to require fewer of these. Now maybe like just untagged lower down, you have all the Storm win cons, and I'm about to look very silly. But normally you want to be like chaining spirit sacrifices together alongside something like Burgi or Electro or Stormkiln Artist, and then you work up either to a really big grape shot, you have a gutter snipe on board, you know, one of those classical, like I ping you every time I cast a spell, and Kaikar is giving me just barely enough mana to keep working through my deck. Not this like, I need 20 goddamn spirits to close the game out. Many cards, sure. All of these look way too expensive. Let me look at this. Deeply confused. Deep, too many. Why do we have so many 1 mana spells? Ah, Spirit Makers. Okay, okay. Okay. Yeah, I think we have a premise issue. On the practicum side, I think your card selection, like you know how to pick cards to do the thing you want to do. I think the thing you think you want to do is not the thing you actually want to do. I'll find a way to word that more clearly, but I think the disconnect here is you have built the 99 of a Storm deck and you have made an infinite mana payoff. Not actually infinite, but you have made a big mana, near infinite mana payoff, and you have not built a deck that I think produces it really cleanly, or I think people have to, in bracket 3, people would have to ignore you a lot. You would not have any answers for the fucked up stuff other people were doing. So we're looking at a turn 7, turn 8 big mana win where our politicking is cute. The problem with being cute is they super can stop us. They 100% can stop us. Because if I go like, oh well, are you sure you want to do that? I'll remove your commander. They're gonna be like, it's that or lose the game. So yeah, it is that or die. So I will get rid of the bird. Um, so the ways I think this could go, if you want to do storm, we need more storm support. I know combat damage draw feels really good to you because you're like, I'm going to have so many of them. We need the things that produce mana. We need the Burgies of the world, or you need the Urabrasks of the world, or you need the Stormkiln artists of the world. We need things such that when we attempt the storm turn, we're really, really confident the storm turn is getting all the way there. If you want to use these X spells as the payoff for your storm turn, I simply doubt it. I feel like my belief is that 9 times out of 10, you will be needing to sacrifice these spirits along the way to keep the storm turn going. And if you're having to do that, you're not going to have enough to dump into some big spell at the end because we don't have a way to flip into infinite mana. Really, like, I think the only way that happens is if we go cantrip, 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 cantrip off of Stormkiln Artist, and we don't have to sacrifice our spirits. And then we hit a big battle hymn, but that's pretty aspirational. Now we can copy the big spells. That's a good point. And I think I overlooked that in your primer. We can use like Reverberate on Jaya's Immolating Inferno. So the damage conversion is better. But now it requires us to get 2 specific cards. It's almost like a two card combo, just die it. And so it is much worse than just, hey, what if my spirits were big and what if my spirits hit you? So let's form this up in a Google document. So if I were to, I'm going to write down what I think a clean Kykar deck goes. Play Kykar. Play Drago Control for 3 turns. Play Moonshaker Cavalry. I win. Very straightforward. I know that's not what you want. Please don't feel belittled. This is not meant to be like what you have to do. I'm just trying to create some separation so that we can have a comparison. So you have play Kykar. Attempt to storm multiple times. Storm like as much as we can, over and over and over. And then it is eventually, so we have to keeping yeah, this attempt to store multiple times is where it breaks down in my mind. Let me go to the playtest and see if I'm smoking crack. I doubt how cleanly it's going to go off and how many spirits we're going to be able to hold up when we can't solve any other problems. Bracket 3 is normally the bracket where you either have to be able to solve problems or your deck is coming together very, very, very quickly. Now we have our win package here, but we're not playing Kykar until turn 4. I think we get left in the dust, so I'm going to mulligan that. We have ramp and we have spells to get it going. I think this is an honest an attempt as any. So I kick Everflowing Chalice, turn 3, great, Kykar. I check somebody's hand, draw a card, because it's free. So I get a spirit. Next turn. All right, let's see how we storm. We go. Next sorcery can be cast with flash. Draw a card. Get a spirit. We would definitely mystical tutor for something. What instant or sorcery would? Maybe it would be like High Tide in this deck if you kind of want it to be comboing. My first thought was like Big Score for fair cards, and then my thought was High Tide because we're also... The bigger problem we're going to run into than, oh man, we have to use up all our spirits, is we're going to run out of blue pips. Like so many of our cantrips are blue card draw, and we only have 2 blue pips to work with on this whole board. And we wouldn't actually draw Fellwar Stone. We'd draw whatever we're tutoring for here. I'm going to draw Tears of Rage, actually. I'm going to have tutored for Tears of Rage. We're at 4 total spirits. Say somebody has a blue. Shadow Rift, 5 total spirits. So at this point, cards that I think are kind of dead are Kindred Discovery. Distant Melody's kind of okay, but Distant Melody puts us in that really unhappy spot where if we cast Distant Melody, we kind of can't do anything else unless we sacrifice spirits. Like we kind of out of options. So turn 5, this is where I would like to win. So I'll go opt, draw a card, make a spirit, brainstorm, draw 3. Make a spirit. Talisman, make a spirit. Sack a spirit, tap the remainder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I swing 6 attacking creatures. I Haze of Rage. They all get +6/+6. So I have 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 44 damage. Probably not enough to win. Probably want to hold back one more turn. That's okay though. It's not important whether or not we win in this playtest. What I think this playtest should show is how much faster a card like Tears of Rage converts to victory over I'm going to try to line up for Jai's Immolating Inferno or for doubled Comet Storm or something like that. And bracket 3 you can still be cute. I think the baby you have to throw out with the bathwater is, I think you either get to be cute with your interaction or you get to be cute with your win con. I don't have faith that you are going to be able to consistently make this deck function when you're being cute with both. So if you want to not have removal, and instead of having removal, you're going to have all of these spell copiers, I think your win cons have to become more concise. Your win cons can no longer be, I need 15 spirits and a spell copier in hand. If you really want these win cons to be the part of the deck that stays the same, I kind of think you should pivot away from I'm going to cast as many cantrips as possible, and you should try to do like, I'm going to be value Spellslinger. Like, it's my turn, I pass my turn. I have 5 open mana. In my hand is Impulse, and in my hand is Swords to Plowshares. And whoever else tries to win, I am sending you to hell. And then, like, the spell copiers still get value because if nobody gives you an opportunity to copy their spell, you can just go like, oh, well, okay, for my turn, I'm going to copy Swords to Plowshares, remove the 2 biggest problems on the board. I'm going to copy reality shift. Again, remove the two biggest problems on the board. Uh, and then you're playing more of a like, you don't have to be hard control in the sense of like, you don't have to counterspell everything. You don't have to remove every creature that ever gets played. But whenever somebody tries to play like, here is my big fucko that's going to win me the game, you get rid of that, make a spirit. And then hopefully look at some cards. But I would be valuing instant speed draw, and instant speed things that draw more than one. Like you're playing all these 1-mana spells to hopefully chain into a new 1-mana spell. That can definitely work. They have to be like the whole deck. You have to be incredibly selective with how many things you have in the deck that don't continue the cantrip chain. And right now we have like, these don't continue the cantrip chain. These don't continue the cantrip chain. These kind of do, because they copy. These can once we get set up, but many of them are so expensive that they effectively stop the chain dead in its tracks for that turn. Like we would want to have basically Emeritus, Stormkiln Artist, the other mana producers. That's it. And then we would just hope for like the biggest turn imaginable. For the long, like we chain all 20 together and then we sack all of them into Jaya's Immolating Inferno. I mean, I would probably still be doing mana rocks, yeah, but I don't even know if I would be as concerned with getting Kykar out as I would be concerned with finding like the Stormkiln, the Burgi, the thing that's going to let me not sack all my spirits, because right now all of my spirits have to stick around long enough to be used in this eventual thing. Yeah, so let me tie this up in a neat bow for you because I know we've taken it in a few different directions. You have built a Storm 99 with a big mana finish. Those are not impossible to connect the dots on because your commander can turn Storm Count into mana, but you are introducing a failure point where a failure point does not have to exist. Doing so is normally one of the beautiful parts of Commander. We're all playing decks where we introduce failure points that don't have to exist because they make us happy. That is going to be a difficulty at navigating this deck in bracket 3. On top of that, you are refusing to play removal. And bracket 3, you either need removal or you need to have a very concise win con. Right now we have neither. The way you can make the win con more concise, you can pivot to a more draw-go tempo-y spellslinger, where you're not trying to cast 5 spells every turn. It is just draw my card, land drop, pass, and I try to have as many things, not necessarily that like cantrip, but things that will draw me into the interaction I need. Draw me into the big draw spell that I'll cast on my next turn. And then that lets you build up a little more slowly, but you're not as glass cannon-y. You're a little bit more resilient. You can stop the green player from winning. You can stop somebody else from comboing. And then, I think the way you've currently made it, the easier thing to do would be to just have like a couple haste enablers like Bitter Reunion and more things that buff your entire board. Because you would convert to damage much more quickly. Or just use Perforoses and Impact Tremor effects, because that way you're converting to damage the whole way instead of, oh, maybe I'll convert to damage, maybe I won't. It depends if my spirit count gets high enough or not on this turn. Those are all the different ways I think you could do it. Please don't try to do all of them. Please just pick one. I love Kykar for Draw Go. I think Draw Go could also work really well with all of these doubling spells, because you could double your impulses, you could double your stock ups, you could double your interaction. And then you could maybe try to make this interaction section and this win condition section work, but the Spirit Maker section would have to go way more towards instant speed impulse effects or instant speed card positive draw effects. So, whatever you do, I hope you enjoy, and I hope this helped.